Welcome to the City Serve podcast. City Serve's mission is to empower the local church to be a catalyst for life and community transformation. City Serve's mission, as you know, as we empower the churches, we have a supply chain. Many of the resources, goods in kind, and food, and any of the other resources, many of you have already taken advantage of. But also what we talk about, that maybe not as much, even though when you're onboarding, we talk about Isaiah 58. Lean into brokenness, and that template for us is those 10 initiatives. This podcast, and throughout this, we want to talk a lot about, unpack how those initiatives can help you, God's people, your church, to be involved. So it's my privilege here to introduce to you Kyle Johnson, Director of Compassion Initiatives.
Welcome, pastors, leaders, to City Serve's Initiatives podcast. This is our third episode, right? Do I have that right, Steve?
That's right.
Third episode. This month and all month long in April, we are highlighting the Prisoner Initiative. And Steve and I are joined today by the director of the Prisoner Initiative, Louis Wright. Louis, it's good to have you on, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Good to see you. We want to dive right in, and again, I want to remind you, those of you who are watching and listening, number one, these initiatives are taken straight from Scripture, all 10 of them. And what City Serve, what we have tried to do is put a director in each one of these initiatives. What is their job? Their job is to help you, local pastors and leaders in churches, to number one, create awareness. You heard me talk about this last month. We can't fix anything if we aren't aware of it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So secondly, what these directors do, Steve, you serve as the director of the vulnerable. Louis, you're the director of the prisoner. What they do is research and development so that they can come alongside you and find exactly what is most effective and what's working best really across the nation to reach these people. And lastly, you provide technical support. So maybe that's all you do. They've got effective ministry that they are doing, but they just need that ongoing support and encouragement. Louis, We're excited to have you, man. And I want to ask you, if you could, in just a few minutes, tell us a little bit about your story and why this initiative is so near and dear to you.
Yeah, so, my story is, I've come out of a lifetime of addiction, a lifetime of former incarceration. And, coming into the church, I remember always feeling like my past had maybe disqualified me from really the work of God. Maybe, I'm there just to show up on Sundays and kind of sit back and let, all the really righteous people kind of lead us. And what I had found was that actually, my past kind of qualifies me for some of the work that's really needed within the church.
Good.
So for me, it was, I ended up going to Mission 111. A lot of spiritual formation happened for me on that trip, and really came back and just seeing where my place was, within my local church and how I could really be of service to the church in that way.
That's so good.
Louis, help us understand, somebody who gets out of prison, what obstacles or challenges are they facing in building a stable life?
Yeah, well, there's multiple layers to it, right? So, addiction can be definitely part of it. A lot of it is, guys have been incarcerated. There's quite a bit of self-esteem that needs to be built up, kind of feeling comfortable in your own skin again, learning how to navigating a life in prison. There's certain conduct, there's certain moral codes that just don't really work in real life. So just practical life skills, being able to walk into a church can be kind of intimidating, right? Looking a little different, maybe tattoos all over. There's just feeling like the odd man out. But there's a lot of levels, really learning how to live again, I guess, out here and become really a functioning member of society.
Yeah, that's so good. Hey, so you talked just a moment ago and talked about how you almost felt disqualified. I love that quote. that says God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called.
Yeah.
And for any leader or pastor that's watching right now who maybe feels, I can't relate with these guys, these gals. I don't know the first thing of what it's like to be in prison or that culture or that background.
That's great.
What would you say to encourage that pastor?
So we actually get those conversations all the time, even within ministry, whether it be to the addicted, the prisoner, whatever it is. There's people that maybe haven't ever struggled in that way, and they think, well, how can I relate? How can I really minister to if I haven't been there? And a place that I always go with people is, you know what brokenness feels like? You know what hurt feels like? You know what hopelessness feels like?
It's good.
So tie into that, because just they've experienced the level of hopelessness maybe around prison or around criminal activity or whatever it is, but hopelessness is hopelessness, no matter who you are. And if you know what that feels like, you can create the empathy, you can develop empathy, you can begin to kind of bond on that level of brokenness.
I like that. Develop empathy. I think all Christians are called to do that.
Yeah. That's kind of the mission of CityServe. Louis, how can the church help? What are, we always talk about deliverables here at CityServe. How can we bridge that gap between the prisoner and the local church?
Yeah, I think the first way the church can help is, listen, all of us are praying for the lost. All of us want the lost to enter our churches. The way that we can really start to help is when some of these people do come in, going out of our way to make them feel comfortable, going out of our way to maybe introduce ourselves to them. Because listen, this is the deal, is the lost comes with a little bit of a mess, right? Yeah. It doesn't look the same. It doesn't, and making people feel comfortable, making people feel a part of rather than apart from is super important. So I think on just a very basic level, loving people is where we can start. I think other ways that the church can really help in this area is, there's a lot of families, there's a lot of stigma around maybe prison or around the things that come with that type of lifestyle where they don't want to be maybe forthcoming with maybe family members, but connecting with your pastor, connecting with your local church leaders and saying, hey, identifying some of these individuals, whether it be your son, a cousin, a family member, a friend, and saying, hey, we have a guy that's either getting out of prison, we have a guy that's formerly been in prison, and we'd like to get them connected to where the church can then begin to wrap around that family, begin to start conversations maybe with that guy, with that woman, and begin to engage in that way. But really, awareness is one of the biggest things right now, is we need to, how do I identify the need? Right?
Right on.
The congregation is what's going to help us identify that need. Where are people at?
Yeah. And really, I think about those men and women coming out of the prison system who don't have support.
Yeah.
And statistically and firsthand, if they don't have that support, the chances skyrocket that they're going to go back in. And really what I'm hearing you say is what a great opportunity for the church to be that support system for them.
Yeah, well, I mean, the prison system is a broken system. It's a hard system to navigate. It's an even harder system to actually parole out of successfully. We see the recidivism rate, and it's alarming, right? And so being able to enter into people's lives and actually see them lives changed is what we're about. Yeah. And so, that's something that we're doing that's really unique, here at City Center. We're developing programs that aren't just, church programs. There's some they're faith-based professional programs. We have therapists, we have psychiatrists, we have all kinds of things in the works right now to serve this group of people, to actually not just see them come to Christ, but see them healed, to see their families transformed, to see life skills come about. And it really is an amazing thing.
That's so good. We serve a creative God.
That's right.
Who gives us creative ideas to find solutions. And really, for those of you watching and listening, CityServe really has 3 pillars that make up CityServe. Number 1 is our GIK, the product that all of our churches have access to support the second column, which is the 10 initiatives. And then lastly, we have our National Grant Center. And Louis, this is one of the things that you can help local churches with, is actually access state and federal money
Yeah.
Did you hear me? State and federal money to be able to do effective ministry. Can you kind of walk us through what that might look like?
Yeah, so we have a couple programs now that have been developed, and these are really great programs. One of the programs is called Respect. And so, as you know, a guy goes to prison, there's been some brokenness, there's been a lot of things going on. Maybe the family begins to fall apart, right? The guy's been in prison for the last 4 or 5 years. There can be some brokenness within the family. I mean, what is Christ about? Family restoration, right? Restoration. And so what we're doing is we're entering into that, and we're providing inmates right now, formerly incarcerated inmates, and it doesn't matter at what time they've been locked up, at any point of their life, we're offering 6 months to a year of free therapy, right, with a licensed therapist, and we're also offering family therapy along with it.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is a great
And this
thing.
is free to them.
Free to
correct?
them. Free to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, and you know, the great thing about accessing these grant dollars is, you know, a lot of times when we think about grant dollars, we think, well, we get our hands tied behind our back. You know, Jesus goes out the back door and the grant money comes in. This is not the case here, right? We still are able to be who we are.
Wow.
Yep.
We're still able to be true to our vision, to see people set free, really through the power of Christ, but offer some real tangible resources right here.
Yeah.
That's great.
And that's what it's about. And you touched on this at the very beginning. It's just about loving people
It's about loving people.
and letting God do the rest.
Yeah.
And so if he chooses to reach them through a grant and through counseling services, you know, praise God,
Yeah.
however he chooses to do it.
You know, another one of the big challenges that we've seen and that we know even here at City Center is when individuals get out, you know, they have a past. It's extremely hard right now for a felon to find a good job, right? Because of his past. Well, we believe in redemption.
Amen.
We've created a program, a jobs program, right here in our warehouse where all of the GIK stored, where we're committed to hiring nothing but ex-felons to run that warehouse.
That's awesome.
Right, we're creating jobs. This is a job training program where they get to learn job skills. They're getting to learn all these skills to be successful in life. But this is what I love about City Serve is we don't just talk about it, we're about it.
That's right.
We have dedicated to our warehouse. We're going to hire nothing but ex-felons.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a beautiful thing.
That's awesome.
Right? And this is another grant that we have coming down the pike.
Yeah, that's so great. And I think, you know, just like with other things, the heart of the local church is to reach the prisoner.
That's right.
But I feel like a lot of times they don't because they don't know how. So as we wrap this up, Louis, for the pastor that's watching this, who's struggling to maybe, you know, catch the vision, or not even that, they're just wondering, you know, I feel like I don't know, I don't relate, where do I start? How do I start? What would you say to that pastor?
I would say start right in your neighborhood. Start right with your congregation. Listen, we just talked about GIK, right? Leveraging the GIK to really see some of these initiatives met. Something we can do right now is we know that families experience some extreme hardship when somebody's removed from that home. What we're working on right now, this is something that can be done right now. We have heroes in each church, each one of our affiliate churches, finding and identifying who those people are in our neighborhood. Where's the family of the individual that's locked up? Where's that family? Sending those heroes to wrap around that family maybe 3 or 4 months before the guy gets out, where we're connected with that family. We're meeting the basic need, and as soon as the guy gets out, we're already connected to the church. He's already connected. There's so many practical ways, especially within City Serve, to really creatively meet these needs.
Yeah.
And really do some really cool ministry and some life-changing ministry. So that's just one way,
Yeah.
right? Finding them, wrapping around. We have no excuse anymore. We have everything. City Center has given us basically the tools
Yeah.
to go out and to creatively do good ministry.
Yeah, and you use that word hero. And that's the word we use here at City Serve to talk about pastors and to talk about you, the faithful followers of Jesus who are willing to serve. You are heroes. And again, we just want to help you. We want to come alongside you, support you, and equip you so that you can reach the prisoner, the vulnerable, and everyone in your community, all for the glory of God. Louis, thank you, brother, for being
Thanks,
on
Louis.
with us today.
Thanks for having me.
And we're going to share your information.
Yeah.
And I know you're going to get a lot of calls because there's going to be a lot of people watching this that want to reach the prisoner in their community.
Well, we're ready to help in any way.
Yeah, I know you are. For my co-host, Steve Kramer, want to thank you again for tuning in. We want you to tune in next month as we highlight and talk about the nation of Israel. Thank you. God bless. We'll see you soon.